Hey everyone, Serena Starlight Witch here. I hope everyone's doing well. Before I get started, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm getting quite a bit of views, but not that many people are subscribing. If you want to continue to see videos from me, if you want to continue to learn or get tips or just listen to me, please support me. Like my videos and subscribe to my channel. I am extremely grateful if you do so. For those of you who have been doing that, I am extremely grateful. Know that. I want you to know that I am extremely grateful. Thank you. So I want to talk about something really important, something that Hecate wants me to talk about. And that is baneful magic. Most people know baneful magic as black magic, but that's not a good term to use. I would suggest looking into the history of why that's not a good term to use. But most people, when they think or they hear the word black magic, they think hexes and curses. But the proper term is baneful magic. Now, Hecate wants me to talk about this because it's something that she pointed out to me, that not only is love magic a big scam going around right now, not only are people, using love spell scams, but they're also doing a lot of baneful magic scams, hexes and curses. So, yeah, I want to talk about this, and Hecate wanted me to talk about this. First off, I would not trust a practitioner who just offers baneful magic, a hex or curse that you can just pay for. No practitioner should ever do that without a consultation. If you can just go to their website or their shop and just purchase a baneful spell, a hex or curse, anything dark, that is a major red flag. That is a practitioner who only cares about money and who would do anything for money. That is a practitioner who doesn't care if it's justified or not. Practitioners should always make you get a consultation before they accept your case to do a hex or a curse. For lots of reasons. I mean, they don't know who they're hexing and cursing. They don't know how protected that person is. They don't know how justified it is. So yeah, it is a major red flag if you can just go and purchase a hex or a curse from someone without needing a consultation, without needing to speak to that person first. That is a very big red flag. I cannot stress enough how big of a red flag that is. There's so much that goes into baneful magic. It is risky, it can be dangerous, and it's not something you do willy-nilly. That's one thing TikTok is really misinforming people is, so many people on TikTok are doing it so willy-nilly and so easily. I mean, most people are not even doing baneful magic right. I mean, they're using lemons, you do use spices in baneful magic, but you have to use more than baneful. You have to use more than spices. Lemons and spices, that's not enough. To effectively hex or curse someone, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of time. It takes a lot of nasty, poisonous, hard to get ingredients. A lot of the hexes and curses that you see on TikTok are done wrong. They're done incorrectly. And even the ones that look really dark and powerful, and the ones using animal parts and things like that, it's still not going to take effect if that person doesn't know what they're doing, if they don't know how to effectively manipulate energy. There's a step-by-step process you have to take to effectively curse or hex someone, and sometimes you have to throw at them several times even for it to stick. Hey everyone, sorry I had a phone call. So I don't even remember what I was talking about. I'm gonna have to make a video going more in depth about hexes and curses, but my point is most of what you see with hexes and curses on TikTok, even YouTube, a lot of hexes and curses are done incorrectly, and it takes a lot of work to effectively hex or curse someone. I personally feel like you really need the help of a powerful spiritual being in order to effectively hex or curse someone. And I'm talking about more powerful than the spirits of the dead. Because people will go to the spirits of the dead to hex or curse someone. That can be done, and it can be powerful. But if you really want to go after someone, you're going to have to go hardcore. That takes time. That takes money. It takes a lot. So, all this, itty bitty little hexes and curses done on TikTok, those are not effective. They're not. It takes a lot to curse or hex someone. So if you're looking to pay someone to do that for you, a real hex, a real curse is going to cost you a pretty dang penny, just being honest with you. It should not be cheap. If it is cheap, run like the wind, because red flag. I've said this before, it is a step-by-step process to cursing someone. The practitioner has to conceal and cloak and break their protections. They have to protect themselves. Every time you hex and curse someone, you put yourself at risk. Those you love at risk. You put everything at risk when you hex and curse someone. You don't know who is protecting that person. You don't know their destiny, because sometimes you can't effectively curse or hex someone because of their destiny. That's rare. A lot of times you can manipulate destiny, but sometimes there are certain things that are set in stone. Like for example, if that person is meant to bring a child in this world and your hex or curse will get in the way of that, it's not going to work, because that child is meant to be born and that person is meant to raise and take care of that child. So a hex or curse won't work. They're guides. The universe will protect them. So there's a lot that goes into hexes and curses. They're hard to do. Well, they can be hard to do. Let me say that. It is a long process. It really is. So anyone offering baneful magic without a consultation is serious. There's something seriously wrong with that. That is a big red flag. That is a serious big red flag. And if you do pay for a consultation, You know, that practitioner should really ask you some questions like, what religion do they practice? What spirituality do they practice? Do you think they're protected? You know, they should ask you questions. They should ask you lots of questions about that person, their lifestyle, their habits, because all that is going to take, you know, a play into hexing and cursing them. So yeah, I wanted to talk about that. And I also want to talk about what hexes and curses really are. Hexes and curses is divine justice, not to be used for petty reasons, out of jealousy, out of spite, out of revenge even. Usually hexes and curses are meant to be used as a last resort. Back in the old days, the only reason why hexes and curses were invented was back in the old days. I don't know what I can and can say, can't and can say on YouTube. Get my words twisted here. Back in the old days, people used it as a way to defend themselves against their abusers and other things. Like I said, I'm trying to be careful what I say. I don't know what can and cannot be said on YouTube. But back in the day, basically hexes and curses was invented as a form of self-defense. It was not made for revenge. Nowadays, you see people hexing and cursing everybody. The only time when you should hex or curse someone, whether you do it yourself or you pay someone, is when is for divine justice. Is when that person did something so bad that they should be in jail. Is when they really physically hurt you, put you in danger. Really, you know, if that person really did some damage, and then it's justified. You're not supposed to do hexes and curses for petty, stupid reasons. You know, I'm trying to watch what I say. A lot of practitioners hex and curse for a lot of reasons. A lot of those reasons are not good enough. They're not justified. Like I said, back in the day, you know, practitioners basically invented baneful magic as a form of protection and self-defense. They did not do it for petty reasons. They did it because they were literally in danger. And now people think that it's supposed to be done out of revenge. And no, it is divine justice. It's something you're supposed to do when the legal system has failed you, when there's no other option, when there's no other choice. It is not supposed to be thrown around like confetti. It's not supposed to be done lightly. It is something very serious. And practitioners, I was trying to explain, practitioners, they can get away with hexing and cursing unjustifiably for a very long time, you know. But the spirits see everything. The universe see everything. There's going to be a price to pay for unjustified, baneful magic at some point in their existence, whether it is in this life or next life, or it's later on, way down in the road in this life. There's going to be a price to pay because the spirits are going to make you pay that price. There's really no such thing as karma, but the spirits see all and know all. And so does the universe. You know, you should never do baneful magic unless it is completely 1000% justified. If that person did something serious enough that they should be in jail for, then yeah, it's justified. You know, and also you got a lot of wussy practitioners who, you know, power hungry, greedy, egotistical. They just want to curse people for petty reasons. And you know, you got practitioners like that who are also too wussy to say something to someone's face. They just take it to the altar. You know, they won't say it to your face. They won't fight you in person, but they'll take you and hex you and curse you like a coward. It is a very cowardly thing to do. So you got practitioners like that too. I got a whole list of people I've got to curse. A list of very evil people who should be in prison, but for some reason the legal system just kept spitting them out. You know, I don't like doing dark work. I hate it. I can't stand it. Usually Hecate just takes care of it for me. It's a lot to it, and it is a big risk. I think, you know, a lot of people do not talk about that enough. They don't talk about the dangers of hexing and cursing. There is a big risk. You shouldn't hex or curse until you are very advanced, because it can go wrong. You got to know how to remove that from you. If it backflashes onto you, it can backflash onto your pets, your house, your money. There is a lot to hexing and cursing, but it is not something a beginner should do. It is something someone who has a good amount of experience on their witch's belt before they start that, because there is a step-by-step process into doing baneful magic, and you should have wards galore before you ever do a baneful spell. You know, and you gotta be careful. There are practitioners out there who will say, oh, you know, since you paid me to do the hex or curse, you're not going to get, you know, any bad luck or backlash from it. It will come back to me. That's not necessarily true. You know, people can do return to senders, and usually when they do return to senders, they don't return it back to the practitioner. They return it to the person who paid for it. The person who paid for it, they're the main source of why that curse or hex happened. You know, they're the main source. So it's going to come back to you just as much as it's going to come back to the practitioner if you know that the target does return to sender or if it's unjustified. So don't ever think that just because you paid someone to do it that you're just going to get away with it if it was unjustified, because that's not true. I'm going to have to make a longer video about hexes and curses, but you know, I wanted to make a video, you know, talking about some red flags of practitioners offering dark work. It's not as easy and simple as you see it on TikTok, and even the practitioners who, you know, are doing these crazy rituals with all these animal parts, that don't mean that it's effective, that are doing it correctly. I mean, baneful magic is advanced magic. It's for advanced practitioners. It is risky. It is dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. There's a freak ton of stuff you got to do when it comes to baneful magic. You got to have lots of wards, lots of protections. It's a lot. And it's not as simple as putting some stuff in a jar. It takes more than that to really get it to stick. And, I also wanted to talk about this because, I wanted to explain that baneful magic is divine justice. It's not to be done for petty reasons. It's not to be done even for, like, revenge, really. It's for justice. It's divine justice, and it's justice work. It's when you've been very hurt and the legal system failed you. If someone did something bad enough that they should be in prison, that they should be in jail for, then, yeah, it's justified. I see a lot of people cursing cheaters on TikTok. Is that justified? Yeah, cheating's very bad. Cheating is extremely wrong, but a lot of people cheat. And, yeah, of course they deserve to be punished for it. I cannot stand a cheater. But do they deserve to have all these hexes and curses thrown at them? In my opinion, no. Did that person physically hurt you? Then yes, they deserve it. Did that person, were you married with kids for years and, they had many affairs? In my opinion, yes, they deserve it. But if you're just in a relationship and you only dated for a few months, even a year or two, what they did was awful. And probably deserves a small hex, like a penis hex, But people make very bad decisions, and people hurt people. Unfortunately, it is the way of life. That don't mean it's right to curse them. 9 times out of 10, the best thing you can do is walk away from that person, block them, and never talk to them again. The spirits in the universe will handle them in divine timing. You don't have to hex or curse them. A lot of the times, like I said, hexes and curses really should not be done on someone unless they did something very, very bad to the point where they went to jail, or they should have went to jail, to the point where, you should take them to court and press charges. Like I said, people hurt people. People make bad, selfish decisions. That don't mean they deserve a curse. They will learn their lesson in divine timing. They will reap what they sow. Hexes and curses are meant for protection. It is defensive magic. It is justice magic. It should only be used in extreme circumstances. If a person cheated, and I'm using cheating as an example, there are many, many reasons why you may want to curse or hex someone. I think a cheater does deserve a little bit of bad luck, a penis hex, a small hex to send some bad luck their way, some punishment their way. But ultimately, a lot of the times, the best thing for you to do is to cut that person out of your life completely and to protect your peace. Like I said, hexes and curses are dangerous, risky. They're a lot of work. They're not easy to do. There's a lot that goes into it. It's always a very, very big risk, and it's definitely not as easy to do as these TikToks make it out to be. And it should only be used in extreme circumstances. I can't even freaking talk. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. It is not to be thrown around so lightly, and thrown around like confetti. It's justice magic. It's divine justice magic, and it is a form of protection magic and defensive magic. If you got a stalker, a bully, someone who keeps bullying you, will not leave you alone, then it's time to take action. But 9 times out of 10, the best thing you can do is to cut that person off and leave them out of your life completely. Sometimes that's the best thing to do, and it's the healthiest thing to do. Like I said, if you got someone who will not leave you alone, and the legal system ain't helping you, then you're completely justified to throw as many hexes and curses at them as you want. But think about it like this, can you just cut that person off and protect your peace? If so, then just do that. Or if that person, did they severely cause damage to you mentally, emotionally, or physically, even financially? If they did, then yes, they deserve a hex or a curse. Even if someone hurt you drastically, really think about it. What is a hex or a curse going to solve? A lot of times people don't learn anything from it. Sometimes hexes and curses work, sometimes they don't. So you got to ask yourself, you got to really think deep. Is it truly worth it? Do they truly deserve it? Because you got to think, people do a lot of bad things. People hurt people. It is in our nature. It is a way of life. But did they do something so bad to the point where they really need to be punished? Did they really cause you some damage, especially permanent damage, whether that be mentally, financially, emotionally, physically? You got to ask yourself some questions before you either pay or do a hex or curse. But like I said, a real hex, a real curse, it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy and even a lot of money to do. I've been collecting my ingredients for years, and I still don't have everything I need for a hex or curse, so I do them very rarely. But yeah, like I said, baneful magic is a form of divine justice. It is justice work, it is defensive work, it is protection work. It's not about getting revenge. It is not. It should only be used, it should be used with caution and be used when it's completely necessary. But yeah, I'll try to talk about this later. Hopefully you guys understand me. I have a speech issue and I kept messing up my words. But yeah, if you have any questions, comment down below and let me know. I love you guys. Please, please, please like my video and subscribe to my channel. I'm working very hard on my YouTube. If you guys want to continue to see me, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. And I'm extremely grateful if you do so. And I love you guys, and peace out.